So, guys, welcome to another episode of the Dream Sky podcast. My name is John Thomas, and I'm here with another dreamer. Actually, might be a familiar face if you've been watching every episode. This is Michael. So, Michael, welcome.
Hi.
Glad you're back with us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
So, I'm saying back with us again for most people, it's probably been a few weeks to a couple months, but we just had this conversation 20 minutes ago. So, it's all good. So you have another dream. How long ago did you have this one?
I want to say that this one was this past fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us your dream.
Okay. So I wrote this one down. So it started with me and a whole crowd of people in an amusement park. But it kind of was different where something had happened where there was a controlling force in the, like, for reference, kind of felt like Nazi Germany, kind of like that kind of oppressive, controlling force. And they were trying to rally us into a stadium. We were all there. We all got inside, and it seemed like they were going to do something bad. There was this premonition. I don't know if that's the right word, a foretelling in the spirit, something where I almost felt like I had dreamed this again, like for the second time. But I don't remember dreaming it the first time. So it was just, something's going to happen here. And I was waiting for something to happen. We, meaning me and a select other few, thought that they were going to kill us all. But this stadium ended up just being what I'd call instructional. They were like trying to, I don't know what it was. It was just the sense. I didn't really go into a lot of detail. But then they moved us to another stadium. And that's the one where I realized this is the stadium that I remembered, with that. Somehow I remember it without knowing it in the first place. But this is the one where I knew that they were planning on sending missiles and blowing up the stadium with all of us inside of it. So we realized this was happening, but then there was some part where we realized that when we drew nature scenes, especially flowers, that the enemy would disappear and, like, say killed, I don't know, they just disappeared. So a whole lot of us drew all of these nature scenes and flowers and drew them secretly. And all at once, everyone in the audience that was in on it lifted them, and all the enemy vanished. And so we were all able to get out of the stadium if we wanted to before it was exploded. So that was kind of an interesting part where me and other people, we were turning to each other. We were like, we need to get out of here. We all knew it. But there were other people who were staying and kind of lingering, and they were like, well, they were just kind of dazed. And, we could tell we had to get out, and it wasn't like we were able to persuade them. We almost knew that it was kind of a moot point. So we just got out as soon as we could. And there's this part where we're running, and, you imagine the stadium up on a hill, and then there's a big, kind of plaza area in front of it. And then there was a railing, and there was a level down, and there was this big glass kind of awning. And so it's kind of funny. It felt like a little action movie, but me and a couple other people jumped over that railing, slid down the glass awning as you see the missiles hitting the stadium and, like, imploding on everyone who stayed. And so we slide down this awning and get under it, and get under, like, the safety of, like, the glass awning, you went further back, and it was actual building that was built into the ground. Okay. And so we were safe, but it was destroyed. And then the second part of the dream, it was like the gates of the amusement park then became border control, heavily manned, people searching people who were trying to exit. Once again, kind of thinking in terms of Jews trying to get across the border in World War II, like, very oppressive. They're looking for something very specific. So we were trying to figure out how to get across the border patrol with these small items. Like, some of us had these small items that we knew if we didn't bring, it would be easy to get across the border. But for some reason, we were trying to bring them. I had this small silverware set, like just like one fork, one spoon, that was it. And they were this brushed copper or something. Other people had, like, I remember this little doll figurine, like, it almost made me think of one of those little Dutch figurines with the little girl in the basket, like, random little trinkets. And I woke up.
Okay. Interesting. So dream starts out, did you say who you were with? You're just with random people. So just random people. Okay. So you're with people in an amusement park, and there's kind of like an oppressive regime, controlling force, and it kind of starts to exert its influence and forces everybody to go into the stadium. And once everybody gets into the stadium, or as everybody's getting to the stadium, you're kind of having this realization revelation, premonition, memory, whatever this thing is, that wait a second, like this is like they're going to kill us. Like this is not going to be good. But that's actually not what happens in that one. They start trying, it's like instructional, like they're trying to give information or put thoughts into people's minds, if you will. I mean, I know I'm interpreting a little bit and that's not your words, but this instructional something, and then they take you into another stadium. And that's when you realize, no, wait a second, this is the one where this is going to happen. But somebody realizes that if you draw scenes from nature, flowers, trees, was it animals as well, or just mainly flowers and trees?
I think so.
All right.
It was just all nature. They were kind of
Anything nature.
these like really basic crayon drawings.
Yeah. So if you draw something with nature, then the enemy disappears. And so everybody's secretly drawing these pictures, and then everybody pulls them out at the same, not everybody was into it, but everybody that did do that pulls them out at the same time. The enemy disappears, and now you guys can get out of the stadium. And not everybody wants to get out. Like some of you are realizing that we need to get out before this thing explodes because the missiles are coming. Other people are like, it's not a big deal. And you realize it's not going to do any good to try to argue with them. So you just run out as fast as you can. As you're going, you kind of go down this hill, and there's a railing, and you jump over the railing and slide down this kind of glass awning thing. As the missiles hit, you're running underneath the glass into a building that's kind of in the ground. Scene changes, you're back in the amusement park.
Well, an important note is that the stadiums are actually all inside the amusement park at the same time.
So it's all inside of the. So it's not like you left the amusement park. This is part of the amusement park, and so now you're back into just normal amusement park, not hiding underneath the building. And I've completely forgotten what happened next.
That is the Border Patrol.
That's the Border Patrol, where everybody has to go through this border thing, and they're looking for something very specific. So same oppressive regime, and everybody's going through, and if you don't have what they're looking for, it's fine, but if you have it, you're going to be taken. And like these little knickknacks, and you're not just you, but others that are involved. If you didn't have them, you'd be able to get through just fine, but it was something important about holding on to them and taking them with you. And so you're kind of hiding them, and you had like a little tiny fork and spoon that was brushed bronze. Somebody else had a little doll, like those kinds of things. And they were all small.
They were all small-ish.
They were all smallish, yeah. So like, yeah, I don't want to read into that. So I'm going to leave that there. And it ends without knowing what happens. Correct. Like it ends with you're going to the border control, and are we going to make it through? Who knows? End of dream. Okay. So overarching themes in this dream, kind of the oppressive, starting out in the amusement park, and the whole word is play on words, amusement, right? Amusing ourselves, the media, the overarching thing of amusing the media, what do we do just to relax, to amuse ourselves? Like that's the dynamic that's going on. But within that, there's a ruling force, and whether that's spiritual, it's spiritual, whether or not there's people involved in it or not, right? There's a ruling force that is trying to indoctrinate people with a certain set of beliefs with the goal of actually destroying people that resist. And so you're in this place, you recognize what's going on, but the way to get out of it is to reveal the nature of God. So nature, it says all creation speaks of him. It says in a couple different places, that concept, like everything in creation is revealing something of the nature of God. And you use that use scenes of nature. And so when you reveal the nature of God, it displaces the enemy. He's not able to keep you in control. He's not able to keep you confined. And so revealing the nature of God and realizing it, but not everybody actually wants to be free. And so you've got to do what you can do to protect your life, realizing that you're not going to be able to save everybody, but you're not the only one that's going to be able to escape what's coming, right? So it's not the complete destruction, because there's something that happens afterwards. So this isn't talking about ultimate destruction. This is just talking that there's going to be people that get indoctrinated. There's going to be people that are going to lose their lives. They're going to lose their spiritual lives, if you will, They're going to give in to what the enemy is doing, the oppression of the enemy. But there's some that are going to escape. But there's things that are important that you take with you, and you could let go of the things that are important, the precious things, and they may seem small in the eyes of man, but they're important enough to risk your life to get them, to take them with you. And what are those things? I mean, they kind of seem like knickknacks. Like, are they memories? They're almost like little things. Like, are they toys? I'm not quite sure where to go with that, but it's something that was precious enough that you don't lay down the things that you value to try to preserve your picture of what life is. And that's what the enemy is trying to get people to do. Whether if he can't indoctrinate them, if he can't take them out, he's trying to get them to let go of those things that are the most valuable so that they can have the freedom that they want. But you don't have to let go of those things. And you may not realize, maybe you're in the struggle of holding on to what's valuable, or maybe that's the kind of the tension that you need to be praying for people to hold on to what's valuable, not let the enemy's intimidation let go of those valuable things just to be able to get the freedom that they're looking for. Because, I mean, freedom's easy if you let go of what's precious. But sometimes it's costly if you don't. So that's your dream.
All right.
I think.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of
Yeah.
it. Questions? What are your thoughts?
I mean, something that I've been interested in is what is, I guess, the land outside of the amusement. Like once you pass the border, what is that? And
Freedom.
freedom.
Yeah, that's the freedom. That's the place of freedom where you're no longer in this place of control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the place of amusement is the place of control. And getting out's the place of freedom.
So then I guess my other question would be, if we stepped into a place of freedom, letting go of those little trinkets, and like why would the oppressive enemy force not care almost at all? I mean, you kind of
Yeah.
touched on that a little bit, but
Yeah. Well, because freedom without valuing what's precious is actually not freedom. Like there's kind of precious things, and whether those precious things are, I mean, I'll use some examples. I'm not sure what it is specifically in this dream, but whether it's your value system, whether it's, memories, whether it's truth, it's the things that you've been given that are precious to you, that make you unique. If you can become like everybody else, you have freedom to be like everybody else, but you don't have freedom to be yourself. You don't have freedom to be what that unique thing that God has given you. Like the idea of you can find freedom, it's not real freedom, it's fake freedom. To let go of what's precious, to let go of what's important, to be able to get freedom is not freedom. But some people are willing to do that for the pretend of freedom because it sounds like freedom, but it's not real freedom. And that's the whole thing of, holding on. That's why it's worth your life, because it's not actually, it has the promise of freedom, but it's not real freedom. And Peter talks about people, I mean, going back to scripture, Peter talks about people, they promise freedom, but they themselves are enslaved. Like there's a false freedom that's available, but you have to lay down what's precious. You have to lay down what's important to be able to get to it. You cannot lay down what is valuable if you want real freedom.
Mhm.
And it's worth your life to fight for what's precious. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Very
think,
cool.
yeah, that was all my questions.
Yay. Well, thanks for sharing your dream.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I'll actually so many themes that you can kind of see and apply in different situations. You got to wonder how much of that is personal and how much of that is a broader message. So I'm glad we were able to share this one, and maybe it'll grab hold of some other people's hearts as well, and help them to choose to value what's precious, even at the cost of their own lives.
Yeah. I think that was something super interesting that I had picked up on in the dream was that all of us were aware of drawing these nature scenes, but none of us had, like, we couldn't talk to each other, but like we all knew at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was this beautiful kind of connection,
Yeah.
without having to even speak, like Holy Spirit just
That's amazing.
moving in everyone's minds and hearts in the same way.
Yeah.
And then just that all of a sudden we all moved as one and able to get out.
Yeah. May it be so.
Yeah.
May those that hear the voice follow the voice and move as one. That's amazing. Yeah. Yay, God. Well, guys, thanks for joining us for this episode of the Dreams Guy podcast. My name is John Thomas, and we will see you next time.